Hello, my name is Brayton Oski.
And I'm Awesome Rouse, and you're watching The Inner Gamer On.
And today on The Inner Gamer On, we will be discussing the promise of Baldur's Gate 3. PAX East, they revealed gameplay footage of Baldur's Gate, and it's now in the hands of Larian Studios, the developers of Divinity Original Sin 2. And we are very, very excited about this game, and we're going to talk all about it right now. Let's go.
And if you enjoy this content, please like, subscribe, and bang that bell, because we know you want to.
Bring it! Bring it! Baldur's Gate 3 had their gameplay reveal just this past week at PAX East, and with it, we have a lot of new details to talk about. We just want to kind of go through because this game is new to, I think, both of us, right? Did you ever play Baldur's Gate 1 or 2?
Heard all the things about it, but never ever played it.
Yeah, I never played it either, and I'm really interested to kind of learn, talk a little bit about it. This is made by our buddies over at Larian Studios. If you want to learn more about them, you can head to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/theinnergamer, and check out our latest video release where I interviewed Kieran about their Divinity Original Sin board game. I want to first go on a little bit of a history lesson through the world of Baldur's Gate, because there are things about this game that I didn't know.
Very nice. Okay, go ahead.
For example, did you know that this game was first created by Bioware?
No.
Yes. So Baldur's Gate 1 was an RPG developed by Bioware and published in 1998.
Wow.
And it is the first game in the series, takes place in the Forgotten Realms, which is a high fantasy campaign setting using a modified version of the Advanced Dungeons & Dragons 2nd edition rule set. So basically this was like the first attempt to take D&D from a story series that was published by D&D and put it into a video game. Later on, we had Baldur's Gate 2 come out. And Baldur's Gate 2 also was published by Bioware, but Larian Studios now has their hands on this game.
As you guys might know, or may not know, you can always go back and listen to our thoughts on Divinity Original Sin 2, and we also have other videos from the creators as well. We actually got an interview with them on the game, so check that out, because that game is basically this game, and I really appreciate that, because there's a lot of stuff that we've played and gotten into with characters and creatures, I mean, less characters, but more like creatures in the D&D world and places and, you know, lore that seems very interesting within that universe that we've got to explore through playing D&D. So it's really cool to see some of them, because if you go on YouTube, watch the actual like reveal of it. They have the intro cinematic, which is a mind flare coming to like gather people. And if you don't know already, what they do is they have these little I forgot the right term for it, but they're like little tadpoles that they put, and they crawl into a person's body and take them over and slowly turn them into a mind flare. So basically, once it's in you, I guess there's a small incubation period, and then you're basically a mind slave until you turn into an actual mind flare. So really crazy enemy, and you have one of these little tadpole things in your body or in your brain. So my whole theory is, which I'm pretty sure is, that you're going on this quest to like kill these guys, but at the end of the day, you actually might be the enemy. Because how do you know what you're doing that's not you? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Until you slowly turn into a mind flare. So really awesome concept, I'm not gonna lie. So I'm pumped. It's just the best of what Divinity has to offer, plus in the D&D universe. Dude, I'm so excited. I am so excited.
Yeah, it's really interesting to see this, because like really, if you're looking at the video gameplay trailer that was brought out, I mean, it looks and feels a lot like Divinity Original Sin. I mean, it's very, very similar, but there's so much like inspiration, emphasis that comes from D&D. Like, I was watching the turn-based combat, which is really, really fun to watch, because Sven was doing the gameplay of it. And obviously this is very early access. And when it releases, it'll release in early access.
He said in a few months.
Yes, in a few months it's going to release in early access, which is crazy. But it's going to be very incomplete, because they're still working on trying to perfect it. But it was crazy to watch him play, because at the end of it, he ended up dying and he screwed up and like didn't play right. Thought he had it all figured out, and like he literally got slaughtered by his own game. And I thought that was great to watch, but it was so funny because the way that he took it, like you could tell, like this is a real demo. Like there's things that are broken and things that aren't going to quite work right.
Yeah.
Or also, what was also fascinating, it showed the true like why this is so cool in comparison to D&D and how this is so much like D&D, because you can go into a battle situation and have this confidence of, you know, taking on these enemies that you know you're going to do all the right things, but at the end of the day, it comes up to the rolls you get, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so he said he was showcasing, like, if you in the bottom right corner of the screen, whenever you do an action, you can actually hover over the action that you took, and it'll show you the rolls that you rolled. So it has the random number, the RNG thing happening in the background, but you just don't see it, which is interesting because that's what Disco Elysium did too. Is that they would show you the rolls also in the corner menu, although it wasn't like a key part of it, but you could still see it if you want to see like what you rolled versus what they rolled and why you had a success or a failure. Well, in this one, you can also do that with every single action you take. So whether it be a conversational reaction or a turn-based combat action, you can see what those rolls were that you were rolling, what, whether you're doing like this check, that check, or whatever, and how you fared with it. So he was like, he was about to attack this guy and he had a 90% chance of success. So he's like, perfect, I'm going to do this. 90% chance of success, done. He failed. I was like, son of a bitch. Like, that's just the way the game is. Like you have those opportunities where like, you're just not going to quite get it. But like they even have things in here that I thought was crazy. Like they had a moment where you could position yourself around a person. And if you don't have a lot of weapons at the time, like literally you can go up to the person. There's an action to shove. And if you successfully shove, you shove them off a cliff. So you can like push them and just give them a nudge to do damage to them to knock them off a cliff. Or there was another part where he had a move where he took off his boot and you can throw your boot at somebody and knock them down with your boot. So you don't even have to have a weapon. You can just like use your body to like do things in it. And I just thought that was really
so D&D.
hilarious.
And that's funny because, Divinity Original Sin 2 is basically takes everything from D&D. Like they wanted to make the best D&D like game ever, and even there's so much you can do in Divinity Original Sin 2 that when we our original interview with Kieran, it was Kieran, wasn't it?
Yeah.
He was saying that even then Sven was like, there's so much more we could add in this game. And basically Divinity Original Sin 2 was a proof of concept for this game, I feel like, in the end, which is awesome because, if that's the case, what else can you do in this game? Like, this might be an early access for a long time. They want to add everything they want to in there. But, they got cutscenes and stuff and dialogue choices, and I'm sure, you can make your own character or take a pre-made character that has a story and stuff, so you'll be able to hear, like, their voices and things like that, which is what they did in Divinity, too.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited, man.
I'm also what I'm excited about this game more so than anything is the fact that like with Divinity Original Sin, they had a lot of races and things of that nature that I just wasn't familiar with. But in here, like it is D&D stuff. So like you have your clerics and your halflings and your dwarves and orcs and all this different stuff that you can pick from and play as those things.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And it's your character sheet's the exact same. So I'm familiar with it more so than I was with Divinity, and that's gonna be pretty interesting. And I like that, like the camera, you can even like go into like third person basically. So you have your top down isometric view, but if you just zoom in with your mouse wheel, you can get up to where you're like literally in a third person mode and walking around. So there's a lot of detail to this. Yeah, Baldur's Gate 3, it has a good look to it. I love the camera system. I like that that's very D&D focused. The rule set is D&D 5th edition, so we'll be able to jump into that pretty easily and understand it and get it. But like there's a lot of dialogue options here. I was looking at the dialogue between some of the characters early on, and it was just cool that there was, just like DOS 2, like there was a lot of things that you can say that can take conversations down very different paths. So that was nice. And then it's gonna be again co-op. This is huge. Like we can now, like this is basically our like modern day good version of Roll20, where it looks good and we can actually play with story and all that stuff and just get the game together and kill some bad guys and take down some peoples and get the characters we want and just play an awesome game.
So, like, good on them, man. Like, here's another indie company doing what they do best. They love what they do. They're pushing it. They're pushing it to the limit. They're giving it their all. They're making an amazing game. They have someone who actually has a clear vision of what needs to happen and what they want to happen. And this is what we get.
Yeah.
And I mean, I wasn't a huge fan of games like this, but obviously after jumping in the D&D and seeing all the options that are available, like playing games like this is just so freeing because you never know what can happen. You never know what might happen if you do whatever you want. And being able to test that, because playing Mass Effect, you had options. There are trees. There's things you can do. You always want to go back to see how the story is going to play out. If you do this or do that, or be a good guy versus a bad guy, or be the neutral person, there's just so much that can happen. And plus other things unlock. Like if you were really good, you got the Paragon, little voice tree that you could use, or you could get the Rogue, or I don't know what the bad guy was called now. The anti-Paragon. You get the
Renegade.
Yeah, the Renegade voice selections. So like seeing how all that plays out is very, very interesting.
Yeah.
And this is like on a whole other scale that I can't even imagine.
Yeah. The choice that you have in this game is going to be really interesting. Just a little bit that I saw in that gameplay trailer, and then just reading what is capable of this. Like there's a lot of strategy and pieces and components that you can really get creative with how you attack and play this RPG. That really has me excited. One of the things that's going to happen in this game is it's not going to come out on current gen consoles because they just can't handle it. They said that if they did that, they'd have to tone down all the textures and everything. So we're not going to see this on the Switch. You're not going to see this on PS4 or Xbox One. You're going to see it on next gen stuff. And then you're going to see it on PC, obviously, because PC is where it's all at. There's a lot more to come of Baldur's Gate 3 here in the coming months. Hopefully, I'm just anxious for early access to jump into it, get my hands on it. When it actually comes out to everything, like in full release, who knows? But to see where it's at now, like, is pretty exciting. So anything else you got to talk about?
No, man. Go check out these guys, Larian Studios, Divinity, Original Sin 2. If you haven't played it, go play it now because it's really, really good.